5 things you missed in Brighton 2, Arsenal 1. Oh boy, what can I say but the Arsenal are truly back. In the space of just 4 days, Arsenal fans have gone from being extremely excited for the return of the Premier League to now being in serial depression. That's right, in just the space of 4 days, Arsenal have played 2 games and lost 2 games. In the first game we lost to the champions, so it was somewhat understandable. But in the game yesterday, it was against Brighton, a team fighting relegation and a team that had yet to win a game in 2020. And somehow Arsenal managed to lose the game. A game that if they had won, they would have gone just 2 points behind 5th place Manchester United. But having lost the game, it all but ends the hopes of any Champions League or European dreams after all. Not only did we lose though, there was a lot of things that happened. From our goalkeeper and arguably our best player being stretchered off injured after suffering a knee injury, from Nicolas Pepe scoring an absolute screamer, oh and also the guy that scored the winner was the guy who injured Leno, therefore becoming the most hated person in the Arsenal fan base. But with that being said guys, let's get into this video and let me give you 5 things that you missed in Arsenal's 2-1 defeats to relegation battling Brighton. You'll love to see it. I swear to God, man, these last 4 days have really opened my eyes. I mean, just a few weeks ago, I was begging for football to return. I was begging for the Premier League to return so I could watch my beloved Arsenal. But just like that, in 4 days' time, we've lost 2 games, got a player sent off, and suffered 3 injuries. I mean, this is life as an Arsenal fan to a T, isn't it? Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Basil and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, lads, we shall be discussing Arsenal's 2-1 defeats to relegation battling a team that had yet to win in 2020, Brighton Hove Albion. We lost to Seagulls, lads. Don't make a mistake, we lost to Seagulls. And not only did Arsenal lose, lads, let's get it straight, we got embarrassed at the end. The guy that injured our go-to goalkeeper, the guy that was making mockery of us all game, somehow in some way was allowed to score the winner. But alas, Maupay scored the winner, Arsenal lost 2-1, and here we are today. Really sad, really angry, and really depressed. But with that being said, guys, quickly before we get into the video, make sure to go down there and smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and also comment down below your thoughts and your opinions. Let me know your thoughts on the game itself, things that you learned, things that you missed, and also what your hopes are after now. Is the season over, or can we somehow pull it back? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to follow all my social media, my Twitter, my Instagram, and also subscribe to my group channel, The Offsiders. Links are all in the description. But with that being said, guys, let's get into this video. And let's discuss Arsenal's 2-1 defeat to Brighton Hove Albion in the Premier League, and most importantly, the game that probably ended our European dreams. Lads, here we go. Starting off, lads, we're going to start off with a bit of a positive, and that is Bukayo Saka's performance in midfield. I'm trying to be positive today, lads, because that is right. In terms of the Arsenal midfield, Bukayo Saka actually did start, but in an Arsenal attacking midfield role. Now, of course, if you have watched my other 5 things you missed videos, you would have seen that I actually talked about Bukayo Saka and him potentially playing in this role back in the game when we lost to Brentford 3-2. We lost to Brentford 3-2, a championship side. What was I expecting? But yeah, in that game, most importantly, Bukayo Saka did start as an attacking midfielder, and I was hearing that he looked very impressive. And so what we saw there and there was an indicator from Arteta that he thinks Bukayo Saka can play in that attacking midfield role. And to be honest with you guys, if it wasn't for that performance with Bukayo Saka, I wouldn't have made this video. I would probably be in bed right now crying because it was that bad of a performance. And not only was it bad, it was very boring. But in terms of Bukayo Saka, he was the one guy who was standing out and he was showing us what Arsenal have to look forward to. Because in Bukayo Saka, not only do we have a baller, he's a player for the future, a player for the long term, a player who is only going to get better. And seeing him start in that left attacking midfield role was very interesting because, to be honest, right, Arteta's tactic on that side was really working. Because what we saw was Ceballos come up, Aubameyang go central, and Bukayo Saka go out wide, and things were working. We were making chances. Saka even hit the bar in the first half, and he looked very promising and our most dangerous and most potent attacker. And for me personally, if Arsenal had chosen to play Aubameyang down the middle instead of playing him out wide and then played a proper winger like Martinelli, I think we could have had even more fun and caused Brighton even more issues. Because make no mistake, even though Brighton beat us, they were awful as well. But yeah, in terms of Bukayo Saka, he was our most threatening player and our creative spark that we needed. And you know, he was making chances as well. And not only was he making chances, lads, he also assisted Nicolas Pepe's goal, which may I just say right now was a banger. And obviously, as all Arsenal fans, the Pepe celebration was out all for that, for Brighton to score one of the scrappiest goals you will ever see. But yeah, in terms of this game, and one of the only positives that I can take from it is Bukayo Saka and his promising performance in that midfield area. And for me, lads, I really do think now that is his future position. He can play out wide and he can also do a job at left back. But for me, lads, he showed yesterday what he's capable of doing and how he can get at defenses and how he can cause teams issues. David Silva, move aside, we're coming for you. And most importantly to Arsenal, it's time for you to sign him up to a new new contract, because that is right, Bukayo Saka's only got 1 year left on his contract, and I'm already hearing rival fans begging for him to join their club. So, Arsenal, if you're watching this video, what are you waiting for, bro? Sign the contract for Bukayo Saka. Yo, do it now. Moving on to the second thing that you would have missed, and that is Mateo Guendouzi fighting Neil Maupay. Ale Mateo is really and truly a fighter. And before we get into the thing itself, let me give you a bit of context. Obviously, in terms of Neil Maupay, he is the Brighton striker who, let's get it straight, he purposely injured Leno. People were telling me, oh no, it's a mistake. No, shut up. Because let's get it straight, by the time Neil Maupay's there, Leno's got 2 hands on the ball, firmly got the ball in his hands, and Maupay's planted feet on the floor. And only when Leno gets the ball then does he go, do you know what, I fancy knocking this guy out. And with Leno being in the air, of course, by knocking him like that, you were always going to cause an issue. And the issue we saw was Leno had a hyperextension in his knee, which could mean, if it is a cruciate ligament injury, he could be out upwards of 7 to 9 months. Because after all, we've already seen cruciate ligament injuries destroy our club. Hector Bellerin, Rob Holding, and that was last season. And so yeah, we all saw the photo of Leno as he went off, pointing towards Neil Maupay, almost blaming him for the injury. And then of course, as the game progressed, Neil Maupay then went on to score the winning goal in the 95th minute of the game. It was awful, it was horrific, I absolutely hated it, and I obviously couldn't believe it either. The guy who had injured our player, who had maybe ruined our entire season already, goes on to score the winning goal. I mean, where is karma? Karma, bro, where you at? And so of course, with tensions being high and Arsenal just losing the game, Mateo Guendouzi went up to Neil Maupay and he strangled him by the neck. That is right, he strangled him by the neck, showing his frustration. Now of course, a lot of fans will go, oh, he's very stupid for doing that, and he most likely is going to get banned from it. But let's get it straight, these are the same Arsenal fans. If you go back to, the good old days of Arsenal, 2004s and that, when you see Martin Keown and Lauren doing the same thing, you were praising that, and they all got banned for it as well. And so in terms of my personal interpretation of it, it showed to me that Guendouzi cared, and it really hurt him that Arsenal were losing. And it's not the first time he's done it this season either. If they go back to the North London derby earlier in the season, he fought in that game and he made sure Arsenal got a result out of the game. If you look into that game against Aston Villa earlier on in the season, again, he fought in that game. He took the team by the scruff of the neck, a team that was down to 10 men, and he got Arsenal the win. Mateo Guendouzi, for me, in his early Arsenal career so far, is already showing he has the fighter mentality. And let's get straight, at that point of the time, every single Arsenal fan in the world wanted a 2-foot Neil Maupay anyways. And I'm telling you, Neil Maupay, I am going to be watching the rest of your career very closely, and every single time that something goes wrong, I'll be the first one laughing. I'll tell you that for a fact. Moving on to the third thing, and that is Martinelli problems. Yes, that's right, lads. Yet again, Gabriel Martinelli, aka Pele's godson, did not start for the Arsenal. It's not that he just didn't start for the Arsenal. With Arsenal needing to go at 1-1, Arteta didn't even bring him onto their pitch. And again, maybe you could argue, oh, this is just a one-off game, this is the first time we're seeing it. But again, lads, that's not the case. Because even in the last game against Man City, we needed goals, and he chose to keep Gabriel Martinelli once again on the bench. So that is right, let me get one thing straight. Arteta has had 10 substitutions in the past 2 games, and in both cases, he's not brought Gabriel Martinelli to get the goal. What is actually going on there? I mean, in terms of the Man City game and him not coming on, I mean, I was trying to look into reasons why, and I wasn't looking to read into it too much. But in terms of this game, lads, I am honestly completely baffled. I do not understand, if you need a goal, why don't you bring in a guy who, after, Aubameyang and Pepe, is, I think, our top goal scorer. But instead, with your team needing goals, you choose to bring on more defenders in Tierney. And again, unlike some very few idiotic fans who are already turning on Mikel Arteta, I'm not going to turn on you yet, but I am allowed to question certain decisions that you're making. Mikel, you're still my guy, but Mikel, I need to understand, why are you not playing Gabriel Martinelli? He's a goal scorer, he gets you goals, he can offer Arsenal a much bigger threat. Honestly speaking right now, I'd rather see him start over Lacazette anyways. But yeah, for me, in terms of Arteta once again choosing to leave out Gabriel Martinelli, for me, it's starting to make me think, are there any deeper problems between Gabriel Martinelli and Mikel Arteta? Because for me, that is the last thing I want. Gabriel Martinelli, we have one of the best youngsters in the world. Mikel, it's time to play him and use one of the best youngsters in the world. After all, he is Pele's godson. Moving on to the fourth thing, and that is Lacazette's run continue. Where do I begin with Alexandre Lacazette? I think I know exactly when I'm going to start with Lacazette, and that is the fact that he hasn't scored an away goal since February 2019. It's been over a year since the last time Alexandre Lacazette got an away goal. The goal you're thinking of is the goal against Huddersfield, a team that was relegated. So what I don't understand is how on earth we have a £50 million striker, a guy who is meant to be so good, who was so good, but for some reason in terms of away games, he turns into his best impression of Marouane Chamakh. This guy is meant to be a French international, a guy who's one of the best strikers in the league. This is a guy who was the player of the year for Arsenal last season, and yet he's gone a year without scoring an away goal. And this is meant to be Arsenal Football Club. We've had the likes of Henry, Adebayor, Van Persie, players that used to score goals for fun. And even Olivier Giroud used to score away goals. And now we spend £50 million on a striker and Alexandre Lacazette, who's meant to be the saviour, the guy to bring Arsenal great again. And he goes a year without scoring a Premier League away goal. Lads, it is not good enough. And for me, lads, the reason why he's not scoring away goals is because he's thinking about it way too much. He's a very indecisive shooter. He's a player who will have the opportunity to score in every single away game, but he won't take it because he just takes too long to let the shot off. I mean, a prime example was yesterday. He had 3 or 4 chances in the game to easily get a goal and put Arsenal comfortably ahead in the game. But instead of shooting off first time and, you know, being an instinctive finisher, he chooses to take a touch and wait and all that stuff, and it just does not work out. I mean, maybe in Ligue 1 it works when he takes 3 or 4 touches, but this is the Premier League, big man, and you can't score a away goal for a year. That is simply not good enough. And so you guys, I'm going to ask you a question. Is it time for Arsenal to finally move on from Alexandre Lacazette? Because, lads, an away goal a year, it's not good enough. And is he good enough for Arsenal Football Club? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because Laka, I am starting to think otherwise. And into the final thing, lads, and that is Arsenal now officially a mid-table club. Forget about 9th place, lads. We are now 10th place, and depending on results, could be into the bottom half. And we're not just talking about the early parts of the season, lads. We're talking about when near the end of the season and Arsenal fighting in mid-table or in the bottom half. What has my club become? And in terms of the season as well, I think I'm starting to question myself as well. At the start of the season, having had such an impressive transfer window, where we signed Nicolas Pepe, Kieran Tierney, William Saliba, Ceballos, etc, etc. A lot of Arsenal fans actually were saying Arsenal had the 3rd best squad in the Premier League, including your boy. But now that the season's played out and the way it's gone, we are now 10th place fighting mid-table or into the bottom half. I'm starting to question myself whether this team is completely underperforming, which is what I was thinking in the first place, or is it simply just not good enough? On one side, you have players that cost so much money, that are proven international players, that are players that should be very good players and should not be fighting mid-table. If you compare Arsenal to Brighton's squad, we beat them in every single department, except for defence probably. But then how on earth do we come against a team like Brighton and they end up winning the game? It does not make sense to me. And it's not the first time it's happened this season. We've already dropped points against Crystal Palace, against Southampton, against teams that are fighting relegation. We even could not beat bottom of the table Norwich City. And so to the Arsenal fans that were dreaming for Champions League places, forget about the Champions League. We're not even good enough to be in the Europa League right now. And so yeah, I'm going to ask you guys in the comments now. Who do you think should stay at Arsenal? Forget about leaving, there's a lot of players that should leave. Who should stay at Arsenal? Who's going to stay at Arsenal? And you know what, lads? It's probably a good thing that we're not in the Champions League. Because if we were to make it into the Champions League somehow, we'd probably get embarrassed again and again and again. Because when you see things like Brighton being in the Premier League for like 3 years now, and how Arsenal have yet to beat them at the Amex Stadium, you really do question what the score would be at the Allianz Arena or the Nou Camp as well. We're talking 9-0 to Bayern Munich, 9-0 to Barcelona. Arsenal Football Club being embarrassed yet again. All with that being said, guys, I'm going to end the video there. Of course, if you have for some reason enjoyed this video, be sure to go down there and smash a like on it, subscribe channel if you are new, and also let me know your thoughts and your opinions in the comments below. What do you think happens to us for now? What do we do for the rest of the season? And yeah, just let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to follow all my social media, my Twitter, my Instagram, and also subscribe to my group channel, The Offsiders. But with that being said, guys, I am going to end the video there. In today's video, lads, we have discussed Arsenal losing 2-1 to relegation battle in Brighton and Albion, a game that most likely ended the European dream. A dream that should have been there in the first place, because we're not even good for the Europa League. I'll see you next time in a bit.